Three, two, one. Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another episode of this glorious podcast. My name is Ermis, and this is episode 28. Thank you for tuning in. Do you know when you think that you've done something that was really amazing? Maybe it was a long time ago, and for some reason you get to hear someone else's perspective on it or see a video and it's not what you remembered. Like if something is a long time ago, like your brain wants to protect you, so it beautifies the memory. The same thing works with alcohol as well. If you look back and you had a great night and you remember all the amazing things, and then maybe someone took a video of you and you look like a homeless person looking for beers in the trash and dancing around. But yeah, this works with sleep as well. This is what episode 27 felt for me. I recorded the last episode with 1 hour of sleep and 3 days of travel. Was it a good idea? I'm not really sure. I want to believe that the commitment in making it happen can balance the downsides of the quality. I know how my voice started going to sleep towards the end of that podcast. I do think it had good raw material, like the Dragon Pass and all. I find that super funny. Yeah, trying to stick to my promise was more important. So I guess I'm serving you in that way instead of serving my needs. But anyway, I felt bad for not having released. I pushed through. Episode 27 is out. Maybe you heard it, maybe not. Otherwise, we can all forget it. In that episode, I was so tired that I didn't even put the thumbnail correctly. If you look at the thumbnail on the social or on Spotify, you will see that half of the title is missing, which I find hilarious, and I keep it like that because it really speaks for my state of mind. But anyway, that's behind us. I've slept more than that now, and I am ready to kick it off with a few news and how it's been. I spent some days in Spain with work and then staying a little bit longer. And I have to say, I really enjoyed the people of Spain. And I'm Greek. I'm very often, I come off as Spanish, but it was the first time that it registered to me the way that people radiate an energy there. Like they have this warmness and beauty and passion, the way they walk on the streets and talk with each other. Like it was a really nice energy to receive. Now, I don't know if I could see this energy because I'm becoming more German, or if actually Greeks, who are often compared to Spanish people, are becoming so depressed that they're losing their spark. But it was quite refreshing to see warm people smiling on the street and having discussions and I don't know, more smiles than usual. And that was a good surprise because honestly, I was afraid I would be sprayed with water guns as a tourist. I had seen this thing circulating on Instagram. I know Barcelona is very angry with tourists, and I was one of them for a few days. I was very conscious of that. You know this terrible sound that suitcases make when you stroll them over the pavement with tiles? That constant krrr. I was so embarrassed having a suitcase on those streets. I thought this would be the alert. This would be the sounding alarm for the locals. The suitcase going on the pavement, making that horrible krrr. This is what they would alert them. They would come on the balconies and the windows and they would start throwing things at me. Nothing was thrown at me, no water guns, and also nothing was stolen. No offense, Barcelona, I love you, but every single person I know goes to Barcelona, has a great time, gets everything, has everything stolen from them, still has a good time. It's the number one advice you hear, and honestly, when I went there previously, 3 or 4 years ago, my entire backpack got stolen on day one with a very simple distraction technique. They told me to just look on the left for a sign, asking me what does the sign say. While someone was sneakingly removing my backpack from my feet, I was at a table having some tapas. But anyway, this is old drama. I just want to say I felt the pain of going through everything. This time, nothing was stolen. Unbelievable. Thank you, Barcelona. The food is amazing. Like It's very difficult to have bad food in Barcelona. I'm not saying that it's the best food I've had in my life. Again, I'm Greek. I've signed a contract when I was born to always push for the Greek food, but the median food is already so high level. Like if you just go to any tapas place, and you don't need to work through to go to the best place, you will still get an extremely good quality. So got to taste those tomatoes. But food aside and people aside, I think a lot of Barcelona is around Gaudi, the architect. He's like the boss of Barcelona. He's the goat. He was so cool. He's the one that has built the Sagrada Familia that is still being built, and has some houses and apartments and even like a small park with everything built from him in Barcelona. If you go, you can't miss him. He's everywhere around. And the idea what I like about it is that Gaudi was so cool that no one could resist him. Like they would give him absolute creative freedom over everything. He has created this house that is there is not a straight line. He loved nature. He loved curves. I just hit the mic, moving my hand as I speak. But yes, he was very innovative and very special. They say that he was the pre-surrealist of his time, with how he was putting everything together, bridging the ventilation of the entire house in the form of how the fish have gills, creating airways, and the way he worked with the light, because at that time there was no electricity, and he makes an insane amount of effort through beautiful glasses and openings and colors and techniques to make sure that the entire house gets light. Which house? Any of them. I don't know. I'm talking about the Casa Batlló one. My point is, Gaudi is super cool, so cool that he could go his own way. He won some awards when the city was giving awards for architecture stuff. And then even the church said to him, go wild. And he said, I'm going to make a church that would take centuries to complete. The church said, go for it. My bro Coloco, it's yours. So he started designing the Sagrada Familia, which is still not finished. It's probably the most monumental thing in Barcelona. And from afar, it looks very gothic and big, and I don't know how to say it. Like it has this medieval situation. If you look at it from a photo on the internet, if you start zooming in, the more you go in, the more crazy it gets. It's full of nature and flowers and tree branches and forms, and even the top of the church has some columns that have fruit. He has literally put figs and grapes up there in some huge columns as a way to. I don't even remember. Some of them have to do with religion, some have to do with that part of Spain and what it produces. But just imagine a church where at the top you actually have some shiny fruit constructions being proudly up there. It even has the pomegranates. If you can say this word, then congratulations for you. I have two words I can never say. The if you say pomegranate, it makes sense for me. Like the grenade that you throw, it's like a potato grenade, a pomegranate. But I don't think it's exactly like that. It's like pomegranate. The second word I can't say, by the way, is the itinerary. Itinerary. I always need to look at it to be able to read it. And if I need to make it a plural or to use it in any other way than just saying, now I'm going to say this difficult word, my mouth cannot do it. But Barcelona was great. I had a really good time. I had some more sleep than before. And the last thing, I often observe how different people drive in different countries. I know the jungle that Athens driving is, especially in the city center. And I found a few places I could compare it, like the driving in Portugal felt super insane, not really having any distances. Everything is marginal. They're all like Formula drivers there. And I got a few taxis in Barcelona. And I have to say, if you get a taxi through an app, you get this complete different behavior. I took a few taxis without the app because it was just because. And I have to say, every single taxi I got without an app they drive like maniacs. They drive like complete maniacs. And being in there, I felt powerless in a way because I could feel that they're like, yeah, what are you going to do? Are you going to rate me? No. The moment you're out of here, you're out of here. So I'm going to do it my way. And yes, if you want to not get seasick in a car, looking at things at a distance is a good idea. Not very easy if you are in a city, but this reminds me that actually Barcelona is built in a way that you can see the city. You can see a lot of open space. And this is random now, but I just remember it. It's very widely built and it has these huge avenues, like these huge straight lines and inclinations. So you can actually see almost the city end to end at some points. Good for when the taxi is going like an absolute maniac. So there goes that. The last thing I want to say, again, these are all random things because this is what this podcast is, but Barcelona, they have this app where you can rent scooters and bicycles, I think. It's E-Mop. I don't know how they call them. I think it's E-Mop. Mops. But it's basically electric scooters. They can drive up to 50 kilometers an hour. Different cities have different apps. And these apps, they always keep changing. One app buys another one. The competitors merge together. Here in Berlin, we had Emmy, and then we had with the F, that was the one Felix, and then they merged into one. If you have apps like Donkey, they remove themselves from other countries. Like it's a constant changing situation. Now, I was out one night and I decided to check. I was in Barcelona 4 years ago, and there was this one app called Cooltra. So I guess cool and ultra, Cooltra, where you can rent these scooters. And I got my phone out, and first of all, the app was still there. And when I pressed it and it opened, it didn't want anything from my life. 4 years later, and the app just opened. It remembered who I was. It remembered my payment option. That wasn't the right one anymore because things get stolen from me. But yeah, no need for an update. No need to register again. No need to, I don't know, pass a test. They didn't even ask me to update my payment details. I only found out after I rented a scooter and it couldn't charge. But I just want to say thank you, Ultra, for being one of the very few apps that can just work as intended. The point is, I open the app, I find a scooter, and I get it. And 4 years later, it just opened and worked. So I had to say it. What is happening in the world? I've seen a lot of these posts for the Gen Alphas that have their own words and the Skibidis and the Reeses and all of that. I'm sure you might have heard of, but apparently the schools don't like it. A lot of schools are starting to ban these words so kids don't use them all the time. I'm not really sure how that will go. Somehow I feel excited watching what this generation Alpha is bringing. With Gen Z, I can say that I felt a little bit of a competition because I'm a millennial and I don't know, they were just too close to me. They were the new cool kids and there was something about that. But with Gen Alpha, I feel old enough to distinguish myself, to remove myself from any sort of competition and just observe this generation go about their way. And yeah, so it's always, I don't know how to say it. It always gives me a refreshing energy, good or bad, to see all the weirdness that is coming out of them and all the questions it makes me have about the future. So Gen Alpha, go for it. You're the new thing. Make those Gen Z jealous because this is what the immediate generation after should do. And yeah, keep inventing your words. Just keep on studying a little bit. You cannot all become influencers. I hope you know that. So let's make sure that there are also a few that get some expertise to continue this world from running. Maybe it's better to not have expertise. Maybe the world would run better if a lot of expertise was missing and we start going backwards. But anyway, yes, I saw that actually the Gen A Alpha is now not using the word Googling. They don't like it. So that's the thing. They prefer the word searching than Googling, which makes a lot of sense. And it's impacting Google's cultural status. Let's all shed a tear together about Google having its cultural status changed. Boo hoo hoo. But where does that generation get their news. They use apps like TikTok for recommendation, it says, which makes it again. But yes, Googling is becoming less of a word. This is what I wanted to tell you. And then how much the algorithms control what we see, what we know, how we feel is a different topic. We have talked about it sometimes, but yes, my hope is one day there will be legislation about the algorithms that serve content that billions of people see and can affect their emotions, their beliefs, and their actions to an extent. But is it time to do legislation for the algorithms? Not right now, not in this podcast. Gen Alpha, you do you. I'll be on the sidelines observing. And I have to say, I'm not embarrassed at all that I have to go and Google what your words mean and what the skibidis and the how do you call it, the people with the cameras on their head, the toilet people. It's all good. I'll be following. I'll be Googling to stay relevant. You do you. But speaking of losing all expertise and going backwards, I want to share a random one. This is something you can say at a party. There is a concept in Japan, the greatest place in the world, called forest bathing. Shinrin Yoku. And forest bathing is time in nature. And because they know it has mental and physical benefits, including reduction in anxiety and depression, it's actually something that doctors would prescribe. So imagine this. Imagine your doctor would prescribe some forest bathing to you. This is such a beautiful thing. But yes, forest bathing is a Japanese technique prescribed to patients, and it helps lower blood pressure, stress levels. It alleviates depression and anxiety, increases immune and autoimmune functions, improves sleep, boosts the moods, creativity, energy, and concentration. Now, many studies have been done throughout the world to test the efficacy of this technique, with significant positive results, proving it to be a viable form of preventive care and auxiliary treatment. So, yes, a forest bath is exactly what it looks like. It's an immersion into a forest. Let the sounds and the smells and the sights and the feels of nature wash over you and clear your mind. So, whether you decide to walk or sit, take it all in, or close your eyes, spending 15 minutes could still have a measurable impact on health. And this is something lovely. I hope we can see this a little bit more in the future. There was a very, very watched video of a neurosurgeon, MIT neurosurgeon, that quit everything, and he's describing why he quit medicine. This is a weird video that appeared on YouTube, by the way. I'm just trying to make a connection here. And this doctor said how he tried all his life to relieve the pains of patients. This was the oath he took. And then he could see that very often in medicine, the preventive measures, having good health, having some exercise, eating well, were not prioritized at all. People with problems would just get a surgery that could work or might not work, especially for the back. I think he was neurosurgeon for back pain stuff. You can find him. It's a titled "Why I Quit Medical School." It has millions of views. It's just one user with one video that somehow became. But he was saying that he could see from the system that a lot of the preventive care was not a focus point in the system. And he said that for people coming to me with back pains, the surgery was not the solution. For some could work, for some it couldn't. But he said that the most change he saw throughout his career was for people who exercised regularly, ate well, had a social circle, and yeah, somehow connect these two. If we could have a merge, if your doctor could say, hey, here's some pills, but also start some forest bathing, that would be a great compromise, just bringing the two worlds a little bit closer, keeping some profit and margin still, but at the same time, not forgetting that we are living beings of this biosphere situation. We have ways to tune into that, and the lives we're living right now were not what was intended for us. We're still very much animals. But anyway, I'm not gonna preach here. This is it. Forest bathing, it's good. Do it. tell it to your friends, take a friend and go forest bathing with them. To close this off, first of all, the Giant Kites Festival in Berlin happened. I missed it for one day because I'm stupid and this is how I booked my tickets. But giant kites were all over the Tempelhofer Feld and I got my girlfriend to take photos for me, which was the best I could get given I wasn't there. If you were there, I hope you had a great time. As I was recording this, I wondered, how did the Catholic Church let Gaudí do so many unconventional things, including the Sagrada Familia, this humongous church that's still not finished? It's an ode to nature. Himself, Gaudí, is buried at the very center of it. There is a crypt, I think, there. And yes, it's such a huge concept. The families that were working on it had schools and houses built for them, and blah, blah, blah. And apparently, ChatGPT says that Gaudí was super faithful. So this was very important on why the church agreed that he does it. So he wanted the Sagrada Familia to be a visual expression of his faith, which is interesting. And the church trusted him because his vision aligned with what was the spiritual goal of the project. His innovative designs were not seen as a rebellion against tradition, but as a form of devotion. To be honest, this is how I would sell it too, if I had to get the church to give me the equivalent of hundreds of millions of euros to make my dream come true. But this was the concept back then. The huge cathedrals of the Middle Ages took more than one generation to complete. The church was convinced, even though the design was unconventional, it was still part of this larger tradition of creating monumental works of faith. And as a last piece of news, it looks like the elections are happening in Germany, here in the Brandenburg region, and the SPD is winning by a fraction over AfD. AfD, the far-right extremist Nazi party, was first in the exit polls, but apparently some things have moved from voters of the Greens and all of that, and the SPD is taking the first place. That is a fraction of good news, a tiny bit of goodness. They're still the second party, but that felt good from the semiology of it. Like the, how do you say, the symbolism of it shows some hope. I'm learning German as fast as I can, but I'm not shaving my beard. I like my beard, it's been with me for a long time. So I just hope we can all make peace and live together. Now, this was it. Thank you for staying by. I hope not too much Spain for you, but that was my life. This is a podcast where I speak about that, and you've subscribed to it, so it's on you. And thank you. Let's wrap it up. Have a great week ahead. Autumn is here. The leaves are turning yellow. The days becoming shorter, so maybe it's a good time for a forest bathing. See you next time. Ciao.